Most people trust their tap water without ever questioning what might actually be in it. It looks clear. It tastes normal. And it comes from a system that's supposed to be regulated and safe. So naturally, it feels like there's nothing to worry about. But the reality is more complex than that. This isn't about assuming something is wrong with your water. It's about understanding how water moves, what can affect it along the way, and why the final quality at your tap might not always match what you expect. To understand this, you have to look at the entire journey of your water. Water starts at a source like a reservoir, river, or underground supply. From there, it goes through treatment processes designed to remove contaminants and make it safe to drink. At that point, it meets established standards, but that's only the beginning. Once treated, water travels through a network of pipes to reach homes and buildings. These systems can stretch for miles, passing through different environments and conditions. And during this journey, the water can change. One of the main issues is that infrastructure varies. Some areas have newer systems with updated materials. Others rely on older pipes that have been in place for decades. Over time, materials can degrade, pipes can develop buildup, and small changes can occur that are not always visible from the outside. This doesn't mean every home has a serious problem, but it does mean that conditions are not identical everywhere. Another factor is how water behaves when it's not moving. When water sits in pipes for hours overnight, during the day when no one is home, or in rarely used fixtures, it can interact with the surfaces around it. This is known as stagnation. During this time, the water can pick up trace elements from pipes or fittings. The first water you use in the morning is often the most affected by this. There's also the issue of local variation. Even within the same city, water quality can differ depending on location. Small differences in pipe materials, flow rates, or maintenance history can create slightly different outcomes. Two households just a few streets apart may not be receiving identical water. Another point that often gets overlooked is testing. Water is tested regularly at treatment facilities and within distribution systems. These tests provide important data, but they don't always reflect what's happening at the individual household level. Conditions can change between the testing point and your tap. This doesn't make the data wrong, it just means it's not the full picture. Then there's household plumbing. The pipes inside your home play a role too. Older plumbing systems may contain materials that behave differently over time. Even newer systems can develop buildup or wear, depending on usage and water characteristics. Fixtures, faucets, and appliances can also influence what you end up drinking. Temperature is another subtle factor. Water that sits in pipes can warm up, especially in certain climates or during warmer months. Higher temperatures can change how water interacts with materials and can influence the overall condition of the water when it finally reaches your glass. None of these factors are dramatic on their own, but together, they create a system where small changes are possible, and that leads to the key question. How do you know what your water is actually like? The honest answer is that most people don't check. They rely on general assurances, which are important, but they don't always consider the final step, the point where water enters the home and sits in the plumbing system. That last segment of the journey is often the least understood. This doesn't mean your water is unsafe. It means there are variables involved, and those variables can differ from one household to another. The key insight here is simple. Water quality is not just about where it comes from, it's about everything it passes through. Understanding this helps shift your perspective. Instead of thinking of water as a single, fixed quality, you start to see it as something that can be influenced by multiple layers of the system, and once you understand that, it becomes easier to take practical steps. Simple habits like letting water run briefly after long periods of inactivity or being aware of changes in taste, smell, or appearance can help you better manage your daily use. These are small adjustments, but they're based on understanding how the system works. It's not about reacting with concern. It's about being informed. When you take a closer look at how water moves from source to tap, you begin to see that the final quality is shaped by more than just treatment standards. It's shaped by infrastructure, time, materials, and usage patterns, and that's something most people never think about. In the end, water is one of the most basic parts of daily life, but the system behind it is anything but simple. Taking the time to understand that system gives you more clarity and more control over how you approach it. If this explanation helped you see things more clearly, consider subscribing for more straightforward breakdowns like this. And if you want to go a step further and understand how some households are exploring more direct ways to manage their own water conditions, there's a simple overview in the description that outlines the basic setup and components. It's a useful starting point if you're interested in learning how these systems are structured and what to evaluate before trying something on your own.